It was supposed to be a night of joy, a homecoming for a small Mississippi town that had been waiting for peace. But just before midnight, the music stopped, and in a flash, celebration turned to chaos. What happened inside that small town block party would haunt Leland forever. Leland, Mississippi, population just over 4,000, a town wrapped in tradition, church bells, and summer festivals, a place where everyone knew your name and your story. November 3rd, 2025, the community gathered for what they called the Homecoming Weekend, a celebration of unity, old classmates returning home, food trucks, gospel choirs, and dancing in the streets. No one could have imagined that in the heart of this laughter, something dark was about to unfold. As dusk fell, the air shimmered with warmth. Neon lights from carnival stands glowed across Broad Street. Children chased balloons, parents talked over barbecue smoke, and for a brief moment, it felt like nothing bad could touch them. But just past 11:40 p.m., someone noticed a man pacing near the DJ tent, restless, withdrawn, clutching something under his jacket. And within minutes, the night would change forever. Witnesses would later say they heard a pop, small, almost like a firecracker. Then another, and another. Screams cut through the rhythm of the night. The music stopped. Plastic cups fell to the ground. In the confusion, people ran in every direction, some toward the sound, most away from it. A woman dropped her phone. A man shielded his child. And in that chaos, no one knew where the danger was coming from. Within minutes, Leland police arrived, headlights slicing through smoke and confusion. The shooter had vanished into the crowd. All that remained were echoes, wounded voices, and shattered glass. Officers fanned out, securing the area. Multiple shell casings littered the street near a parked SUV. Emergency responders moved quickly, guiding victims to ambulances. Chief Deputy Harrison, a 20-year veteran, would later describe the scene. It wasn't war, but it looked like it. By 12:30 a.m., state investigators and ATF agents joined the scene. Every clue mattered: a trail of footprints, a piece of fabric, a set of tire marks leading toward Highway 82. Detectives believed the attack was targeted, not random. Someone had come to that party looking for someone and left a trail of pain in the process. By sunrise, police had one name: Marcus M.J. Liddell, 28, a local man with a history of small disputes and a recent argument with one of the party organizers. Security footage showed a man in a dark hoodie entering the event minutes before the shooting. Later footage captured the same man sprinting away, clutching what looked like a duffel bag. Marcus was no stranger to Leland, born and raised, once a promising high school athlete. But after years of struggle, financial hardship, and social media outbursts, his life had turned chaotic. Investigators found angry posts, vague threats about payback, and fake friends. Nothing that screamed mass violence, until now. 2 days later, police tracked Marcus to a rundown apartment in Greenville, 10 miles from Leland. He was alone, quiet, watching the news replay his own crime. When officers broke through the door, he didn't resist. He just whispered. They didn't listen. Inside, detectives found clothing matching surveillance footage and ammunition consistent with the shell casings at the scene. Marcus was taken into custody without incident, but the community's wounds had only begun to open. The following Sunday, Leland gathered again, not for a celebration this time, but a vigil. Candles flickered where food stalls once stood. Photographs of victims rested on folding tables lined with flowers. The mayor stood before the crowd, his voice trembling. "We can't let this darkness define who we are. We will rebuild. We will forgive. but we will never forget. For a town that had prided itself on love and neighborliness, this wound cut deep. Parents held children tighter, and many began asking, how could no one have seen this coming? Marcus sat across from detectives, hands folded, eyes distant. He said he wasn't there to kill anyone, that he wanted to make noise. When pressed about the gun, he simply said, "It wasn't supposed to happen like that." Psychological evaluation later described Marcus as delusional but coherent, someone consumed by rejection, jealousy, and a distorted sense of injustice. He had spent nights posting angry messages to no one, seeking attention that never came. Forensic analysts combed through Marcus's devices. They uncovered drafts of unsent messages, online forums filled with resentment, and a chilling pattern. He had been recording video diaries weeks before the attack. In them, he spoke to an imaginary audience. He ranted about betrayal, loneliness, and the world turning its back. The internet had become his mirror, one that reflected only his anger. And in that reflection, his delusions grew. The trial is expected to begin in May 2026. Prosecutors say Marcus will face multiple charges, portraying him as a man driven by obsession, not ideology. The defense plans to call him a product of neglect and untreated mental illness. Witnesses describe the panic, the screams, the disbelief. Experts note that Marcus's online patterns mirror those of people seeking validation through chaos, not destruction for its own sake. The jury will have to decide, not just on actions, but on a mind lost in isolation. Months later, Leland tried to move on. The streets were repaved. The homecoming returned, smaller, quieter, but resilient. On social media, tributes to the victims still circulate every November. One post reads, "We lost our peace that night, but not our purpose." And perhaps that's what Leland became, a mirror to America's growing challenge, when pain meets a platform and silence becomes too heavy to bear. The Leland Massacre wasn't about fame or power. It was about isolation, a mind echoing in the void, unheard until it broke. Every tragedy has its warning signs, but not every warning is seen. And in the age of constant noise, sometimes the loudest cries for help are digital whispers we never notice. If attention can heal, perhaps listening can save.